Pandemics never sleep, pal. I just made $800,000 on Pfizer vaccines. It's been warranted. Play with it. You done good. But you gotta keep doing good. I showed you how to play this pandemic game, and now school's out. Part of pandemic, don't you understand, pal? Natural selection. Strong survive, and weak die from COVID-19. We'll find Jesus. Don't you understand? I want to be surprised. Astonish me. Astonish me, sport, with new information. Don't care how or where you get it, just get it. Get me some. Oh, jeez. I wish you could see this, bud. The light's coming up over the water. I've never seen a painting that captures the beauty of the ocean at this moment. Multitudinous seas. Multitudinous seas incarnadine. Making the green one red, pal. Making the green one red. And I'm Mo Green. I'm Mo Green, pal. Mo Green. This is your wake-up call, pal. Get to work. Hello, my name is Major Mike Webb, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, greed, for lack of a better word, is goods. Goods, dry goods, wet goods, good and plenty, streams of commerce and commercial bump intercourse. And back in the really good to 1980s. Program trading, insider trading, trading floors, and stock market bells. Like many persons in college, I was getting ready to go into the world of business. Some people say I was running for Congress, but no, not yet. Because love of money makes the world go round. I grew up playing the game of life by Milton Bradley, fun for the whole family, where everyone and his mother wanted to be what? A doctor. Why? Because you wanted to care for people. You wanted to dispense medicines and heal the sick. No, because in the game of life, the docs made the most money. And the guy with the most money at the end of the game wins. Do the math. But not everybody goes to college, which may be a little problem for those trying to become a doctor. Although I know of one guy who managed to even do it without medical school. And not everybody survives organic chemistry. The make or break course for anyone who decides he wants to make house calls and be called a doctor. Why? Because sickness will never go out of business. Old man death ain't hanging up his shingle. And ask any parson priest who can tell you that Mammon built this church. Everyone wants to have eternal life. And if you happen to be in a profession of public health and happen to, by serendipity, find yourself in the middle of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, business is good. But what happens? What happens if a pandemic closes the doors of your business and you're not a doctor? You don't know anything about medicine. You gotta improvise, adapt, and overcome to survive, my friend, because it's a dog-eat-dog world. In survival of the fittest, and only the strong survive, who acquire those gains of function like a novel coronavirus and natural selection to dominate the world. So are you a winner, or are you a loser? Or are you already dead? If I can put you in a box, you're already dead. You look like an intelligent person, but Dr. Rochelle Walensky says that in a pandemic, my friend, human choices have not been your friend. So, make like a dinosaur. Get out of the way of the march of time. Make like an ice princess and let it go. If you can't think like a lawyer, go into business. So, what are the rules of business even in a pandemic? From the one gentleman I know who happens to lead the most powerful business group in the nation's capital, it's fairly easy to explain with a simple example. Let's assume that you want to start up a business, but you have only a limited range of options restricted to only two choices. You can either sell vitamins, little Flintstone vitamin license suite, or selling aspirin. Which one would you choose? Well, my friend posed this question at a business breakfast that I hosted that was a few years ago in an interesting location to a gathering of successful businessmen. Why? Because, young people just wanted to go out and have happy hours with their friends who weren't going anywhere. So figured. But what happened is that business practice, well, they all successful businessmen like to at least present themselves to the public in goodwill of being humane, kind, caring, love animals, and conscientious, concerned about the community. So, of course, everyone in the room didn't want to look like a jerk, and they said that they would be open to starting a business selling vitamins to promote a healthy lifestyle, prating on about the benefits of a healthy living. But if they really believed that, they wouldn't have been in that room. Because even those out peddling illicit quantities of God who declared themselves non-essential, recognizing that the numbers of folks singing, "Tell me the stories of Jesus I want to hear," things I would ask him to tell me if he was here, is growing smaller and smaller every day. And to make money in business, we sell to the pain point that aspirin can relieve and soothe. And nobody successful in business ever volunteers for redemptive suffering. And you look like an intelligent person. But do you know the science? Probably not. What do we call it, my friends? We call it needs-based selling in the insurance business, because nobody wants to buy insurance. So we create a need. Why? Because we know in sales, like aspirin, that people will buy anything if they think that they need it. Works very, very well in coercive interrogation. And waterboarding. Food, clothing, and shelter, subsistence, baseline, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The sine qua non of living until tomorrow to fight another day, like cowards tend to do. Even an army, they say, lives on its stomach. No beans, no bullets, my friend. No pain, no gain. And in needs-based selling, if you have a product you want to sell like insurance, or in a world in which nobody believes that they are going to die tomorrow, you create a bitter necessity and extend an offer that they can't refuse. Get them to sign on the line that is dotted, and if you just told me that you refuse to sign this contract, then you just told me that you don't love your wife. AIDA, attention. Do I have your attention? Interest. You're on the lot. I know that you're interested. Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ action? So how did we manage to sell you a pandemic, my friend? Are you a sucker? You probably are. Everybody's a sucker at some point. It's all about marketing and product messaging. Well, the pandemic was pandemic even in your expansive vocabulary? How about coronavirus, social distancing, or even communal responsibility? Probably not. So we gave you a language to talk about it. And we'll return to your regularly scheduled programming after these messages. Sun Tzu says, kill one and scare 1,000. And a few early deaths was enough to even close churches, scare the bejesus out of them. But in business journals from Wall Street to Bloomberg, what was the daily news intelligence report until the time of election? You don't want to have another Vietnam where people get tired of hearing about people dying. Surging infections and spikes. Just enough danger to get you motivated. It's like waterboarding. You're not going to drown, but you're going to think you're going to drown because you have enough water to remind you. Like the spikes on the novel coronavirus, infections rose, or infections fell. Maybe you even learned a new term called positivity rate. You have to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, even in a pandemic. But if you are tracking infections to prevent and mitigate the spread, unless you are selling burgers at the Golden Arches with over 1 billion burgers served, would it not be reasonable to be tracking those repeat and returning customers? Getting infected and reinfected over and over again, like the 95% of people that return again and again to Don by a Bobo. Well, with over 8 million reported cases, and recent reports that those with prior infections may experience more adverse outcomes like hospitalization and death. The CDC website has recently announced that only now, 2 years into a pandemic, even after folks like Professor Zwicky at George Mason University Law School had gone to court to argue about natural immunity after infection, that they are only beginning to understand the science of reinfection for COVID-19. And apparently, according to a recent FOIA response, the doctors at the CDC who know the science were so busy selling infections that nobody took the time to identify exactly how many of the over 8 million infected people were our returning customers. So conceivably, as bad as pandemic had looked, even with an apparent chimeric coronavirus that has a countermeasures bias for snakes, even though coronaviruses only infect mammals and birds. Like the 75% of fatalities over the age of 65, pandemic may not present a clear and present danger to you. And fully vaccinated, boosted and masked, you look like an intelligent person ready for Halloween. This briefing is unclassified. As you heard, my name is Major Mike Webb, and by God, I am one of the U.S. doctors. This year, make the right choice, and we shall make America great again. Honest, carry on.
This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.